before we get deep into this ska conversation, let's I just want to know what's going on with you, JER. How you been?
I've been good. I've been chilling. Really busy over the last year, but right now I'm in a moment of peace, and I get to just kind of like relax and get my life together. And relax isn't the right word because I'm still busy, but not as busy as being on the road all the time.
So you had just gotten back from tour or something recently, right?
Yeah, kind of like a combination of a lot of things. I teach drum corps now. And on top of marching band and indoor percussion. So I'm teaching a lot. I had a lot of audition camps that I was working over like the last basically 5 weekends before I left to go to the West Coast to do a weekend with We Are the Union and then the Fishbone tour with JER. And then I came home for the holidays and then we did MagFest. So truly like every weekend since like 2 weekends before Fest, which was like basically the beginning of October, I've been busy like every weekend.
I see.
I posted about it, like not as much as other things I was doing because MagFest is kind of one of those things where it's like no one just impulsively decides to go to MagFest because they saw an Instagram post of an artist that's playing. It's just like one of those festivals where it's like they have their built-in crowd of 50,000 people that attend. So like, it's going to be a good time regardless. And I made some posts about it, but the algorithm also loves to bury posts about me doing live shows. And since I didn't like push that one as hard, a lot of people just kind of didn't even see that.
I did see some footage of what I think was your opening song for that set.
Yeah,
What was that song?
1985.
Oh yeah. Any reason why you played that song?
So because we were well, one, Scout 2 Network was cool enough to play MagFest. But two, I've had this joke I've wanted to do forever where when it gets to the stop of the song, we stop and then we play the whole set and then end the set with "We are Scout 2 Network, thank you, good night," and bring back Springsteen, Madonna, and then finish the song. So the whole set is really just like a long 40-minute bit. That's the only reason why that song really truly made it into the set list.
There isn't another reason then.
There could, or if it creates some controversy that gets me some reach, then maybe
Okay.
there could be another reason.
All right. So, before you got home, you tweeted that when you get home, you're gonna straight up write a hip hop song
Oh yeah.
and record it. Did it happen?
So actually, before I even left, I recorded vocals for a said hip hop song because Eichler's produced the beat, and I just wanted to like demo out the vocals because like typically when I demo something and sit on it, it allows me to get a better performance on the final recording. So I was like, if I do this before I leave, then it'll be like in my head for a few weeks, and when I come back, I can like make alterations and stuff like that. So the song is written. I just need to record the vocals, and which I'm probably going to do this coming week, and then send it over to Ike, and then yeah.
All right.
Oh, zero ska at all.
What's the internet gonna do?
Yeah, right.
um. Yeah. So. Yeah. How was all these things that you got to do? I mean, Fishbone, We Are the Union. How have these ventures been?
They've been awesome. They've been really good. Obviously, I've been playing in We're the Union for like 8 years now, which is kind of weird to think about. But on top of that, I've been doing Scott 2 Network and JER shows, but it really felt like this year, but like also those run of shows in particular felt like things, it's like you can finally notice things are growing. Sometimes when you're a band or an artist and you're touring, you're like, is my audience growing? Like every time you play a city, you get like 5 or 10, it feels like 5 or 10 new people and the room gets a little more full. But also when you're playing with different bands and stuff like that, it's really hard to tell. Like, is it more full because more people listen to us, or is it because this certain band we're actually playing with has brought their own crowd? And in some cases, it's like obvious. Like, at the Eve 6 We Are the Union tour, you can tell who was in the room for We Are the Union and who was in the room for Eve 6. So it's kind of really obvious. But for some shows, it's not as obvious. But with these runs of shows in particular, it was very clear. Like, people typically don't move to the opening band, but people were moving at almost every show and like shouting the words. Like, there was one show, I think it was Seattle, where I would have argued that people moved more during JER than Fishbone, which was really, really wild. Like, and if not more than as much, you know, like there were like the JER crowd really showed up in Seattle.
So ska has been, you know, ska in the 90s has definitely been how people have defined the genre in the US for decades. And the idea of ska coming back gets discussed periodically, and it got a whole lot of discussion in 2021. The main things that got talking again was Jeff's album, and then my book, which came out like 2 weeks after Jeff's album. And then you were interviewed in a lot of those articles too. So a lot of those articles, I'm not sure how much they understood about the genre and how much they understood about the concept of ska gaining momentum. So I kind of had mixed feelings about them. And of course I like the publicity for not just me, but for you and for everyone else. But I also am concerned about like, what does real momentum look like that's sustainable and good? So now we're here in 2023. I see the Bad Time Tour. So many, like several shows sold out right away, and I'm sure they're all going to eventually sell out. Supernova, they took off 2022, but 2023, they're going real hard, and I think they're representing ska exactly how it should be. They're saying, we're taking bands from all over the world. We're having skas from every era, and we're having every type of ska. And that's how they're presenting ska, which is perfect. It's not Back to the Beach, like 90s, you know, ska, 90s, sunny California, which is fine. That's what that brand was. It's just not what I want being pushed. I really like what Supernova is pushing. And, you know, Adam and I've been doing this podcast for 2 years now. We're starting our third year. I feel like we're still gaining momentum. And there's still like, you know, I feel like we're getting our hands on new guests that we've been trying to get and all that stuff. So I wanted your perspective on what you think's been happening and what's going to be happening this year. Does it feel like we're going in the right direction?
I would say
All right, that's all we have for now. But if you want to hear the rest of it, head on over to the Patreon. The rest of this conversation is waiting for you over there, plus early access to our episodes and plenty of other fun perks. We just redefined the whole thing for 2023. We'd love to have you on board. Be part of the team. Come defend ska with us. So we'll talk to you soon. Ska now, more than ever.
There's this like ridiculous rhetoric that goes around basically saying if you're old, you can't be successful in music. You're in your 30s, you're way too old to be playing music or trying to be in a band. You've already put out a couple records, you already missed your chance, you can't be successful. Fuck off with that thinking and that mentality. We live in a capitalist hellhole that tries to push this idea that once you exit your early 20s, your life is all downhill from there. That you should sell your life away to some corporation and work for the rest of your life. You are never too old to create art. You are never too old to start a band. You are never too old to choose a new career path. You are never too old to figure out your life and what works for you. And a lot of record labels won't invest in older bands and older musicians because they know when they're older, they're wiser about things and it's harder to exploit them. And at the end of the day, the too old mentality comes from the fact that younger artists are easier to exploit and easier to sell. And what's the point of having a counterculture if we're not unlearning what the regular culture has ingrained in our minds? Like, stop.